stars, and welcome to my bee house and pollinator garden. And behind me is a Slovenian bee house. It's very much different from the way most people do their beehives in America. You might have seen where people will do their beehives with boxes on top of each other. I used to do it that way, but I soon discovered that those bee boxes become extremely heavy, and they're sometimes heavier than I weigh. And so I looked for an alternative and discovered the Slovenian bee house. In front of the bee house is what I call my pollinator garden. Inside this garden are all native plants to New England, with an exception of 2 and 3. Some that are in this garden that you might know are bee balm, beard's tongue, wild indigo, and a non-native plant called catmint. So you might have noticed that on the front of my bee house, all the hives are painted different colors. The reason for that is that bees can distinguish their hives from each other by the fact that they're different colors. They also can smell the hive because there's only one queen per hive, and that queen puts out a particular smell. And that's how they find their hives. You will notice that the bees are coming and going. And right now, the honey flow is getting started. Lots of pollination out there going on. And my bees right now are looking really good. It's really important as a beekeeper to sometimes stand outside your hive and observe the behaviors of your bees to make sure that they're doing okay, and just to see what they're bringing in to their hive. And right now, I see a lot of yellow and dark orange pollen, which is very exciting. And they're also practicing how to fly. So a lot of times when you're standing here outside the beehive, you will notice that they'll be doing figure eights because they're practicing how to fly, and they're also practicing how to land. And sometimes the newer bees, when it comes to flying, crash land, which is kind of funny if you stand here and watch it because they're kind of cute. They do tumble salts. This is the front of their house, but they also have a backside to their house. So let's go on in and check it out. Welcome to the inside of a Slovenian bee house. And you might wonder, why would I number my hives? Well, we keep a bee journal. So every time we go into the hive, we keep little notes to see how everybody's doing, and do they have enough brood, and all kinds of details. So I have a couple of pieces of equipment here that I'm going to put on because I'm going to go inside the hive and show you what it looks like. I have my smoker going, so this keeps the bees calm and kind of pushes them back to the behind the hive. A flashlight just in case I want to have some extra lighting. My gloves, and my veil to protect me from the bees. All right, so we're pretty excited about going inside of the hive. This is the back door to their home. And you can see this is the inside of their hive. This is what we call the brood box, and these are 2 honey supers that go on top. And this is the inside of a hive. Now, I hope to find the queen, but there is no guarantee if I will get the queen or not. And I just gently pull these frames out. Oops. There's the queen. I actually found her on the first frame. Can everybody find the queen? There she is. She has a blue dot on her back. She's not born with a blue dot. She is marked, so we can find her. Sometimes we don't mark them, but this one is a marked queen, and she's searching for a place to lay some eggs, which is good. She's doing great. So that's the Slovenian bee house. I'm so glad that you guys had a chance to visit it and see what I like to do on my off time. But now it's time to go into the studio and see what we can be inspired by. What could we create around bees? So come on in and let's start making art. I sure enjoyed going to the bee house. I hope you guys enjoyed going into my bee house too. Now I'm going to show you some of the examples that I think will be kind of fun to do. This one is a crayon watercolor painting of a couple of fun little cartoony bees landing on a flower, buzzing around. I think the most interesting part about this piece of work is the multiple colored crayons in the background. So to get started on this piece of work, you're going to need a piece of paper, some pencils, crayons, and if you have watercolors, great. If you have markers, use markers and add water to your markers, and I bet those will turn into some sort of watercolor if you want to do it. So the first things first is you draw a circle, build up your flower. This is sort of like a sunflower motif. And then the next step is to get that stem. And I do use 2 lines for that stem. And I'm gonna make really large leaves on either side. And add some details to those leaves. Then I add my bees. And to draw a kind of fun, happy bee, really it's just a circle and an oval. They have a couple of stripes on them. Some cute antenna. Some nice little cute cartoon eyes. And then I sort of do a double little sort of scribble for their wings and a couple legs. Oh, there you go. Cute as pie. You can outline this in black Sharpie, or you can outline in sort of a black crayon. That works as well. When you begin to color, you really want to make it super dark. I'm gonna outline my flower in an orange. And I won't outline it all the way for time purposes. I'm gonna color the background. And to color the background, I use multiple types of color. I keep going all the way around, switching my colors back and forth, making it nice and dark. You can see how dark that is. It is not light crayon, it's really dark. And yes, I break my own crayons all the time. When you get everything colored, you should have a really thick, multicolored background. You then can start thinking about doing your watercolor. I did not watercolor my bees. These were done in yellow crayon. I left their wings white, used a little bit of blue crayon and white on top of that. I did clouds in the background, which I watercolored like a light blue. What I used for watercolor on the flower was like a yellow and a green. So all I did was get my yellow going, and I did my yellow. And then I wasn't really happy with that, so I went in and I did a little orange. I didn't cover up all of the yellow, but I put a little orange in there. So that is the watercolor crayon sunflower picture. The next picture also has watercolor involved into it, but this is actually collage. So these bees were drawn and colored on a separate piece of paper, and then I cut them out. The same thing with the flowers and the leaves. To start off, I started with my base, and I then went in and started to color. Now I didn't use what most people would think when you did like a field, you'd paint it green. I painted mine yellow, as if it was a field of yellow flowers. And I would paint that all the way down to the bottom. And I'm not gonna finish this, I'm just gonna show you, you paint all the way down. Maybe you wanna add a little orange in there. Always cleaning up your brush as you go. And if you want, maybe just a tad of green to make it look like there are little pieces of grass or stems of flowers sticking out. And then finally you go up and you do your clouds. And your clouds are just kind of light blue, not too dark. Just kind of puffy things in the sky. Nice and happy. So there, that's how you get your background started. So that's the background finished. And that's how it looks as you get started on your painting of it. And while that is drying, I'm going to put that off to the side. You then go over here and you create some flowers. Now I create circles so they're easier to cut out. And then I draw the flower inside the circle. And you can make them as interesting or as different as you want. Maybe a couple of leaves. And of course our cartoony bitties. I did 3 of them. So I also did 3 of different sizes. Notice I have a large, a medium, and a small. So this one's the closest to us. It's in the foreground. This one's in the middle ground. This one's way in the back. So I would do these. I would outline them in black. And then I would color them in as appropriate, as dark as you possibly can. You want them to look really nice. And then when you get everything done, you will cut them out. And we're just gonna pretend that this one's all colored and all nice. You cut all your pieces out, and with a glue stick, put lots of glue on the back. Make sure that your painting is dried, and then you glue your pieces on your work like that. Of course, this is not finished, so you have to, you know what it's supposed to look like, and you can refer back to your example that's on the website. So these are 3 happy bees buzzing in a field, and I have one more that's kind of exciting to do. And this is the mobile. And what I did is I went around the house and I collected all kinds of scraps. I had old wrapping paper, some doilies, anything will do, scrapbooking paper, cardboard, which I use for my bees, which I'm going to show you. Some more paper, some floss, and newspaper. I love newspaper. Newspaper makes really great bee wings. I don't know why, because it has that sort of texture to it. It has a pattern, and it's thin, and I like to use that for my bee wings. I'm going to show you the mobile, and it's a little tricky. I stepped away from the camera. So I will have a picture of this. Let me push this out of the way, and I'm going to lay this down flat so you can see it. So here is my mobile. This is a little trickier to kind of figure out how to do, but just so you can see, I took a wire hanger, just a regular old wire hanger, and I've done 3 hangings here. I have 2 that are ribbon, these green ribbons, 3 that are floss, and 1 more green ribbon. The green ribbon is one of my longest lines because I wanted to kind of balance it, so it goes long, short, long, short, long. I took my doilies and I made them, I sort of sandwiched them on the ribbon. So what I mean by sandwiched is I put some glue here and then a circle, and I put the ribbon, I'm trying to think if I have a circle, I don't. Some glue there, and I put it like a circle here, and I sandwiched it so you can't see the ribbon. And then I glued some leaves on the green ribbon. And the bumblebees, or the bees, honeybees I should say, are just round cardboard, and I wrapped the floss around the cardboard to make it look like stripes, and it sort of gives it a craftsy kind of feel. And I cut out 2 wings on that thin wrapping paper I had, which is, if you don't have, which you most likely don't, but if you have newspaper is just as beautiful. So I would use the newspaper for the wings. And this one's a little trickier. This is like an extra project if you want to take a little stab at it. See if you can do it. I'm sure you can. Just look at the example, kind of figure it out and have a lot of fun with it. You guys have been terrific. I've been getting so many awesome pictures. You guys are submitting your work on time. I can't tell you how proud I am of you. I'm looking forward to see what you do with this first week of Insect Week and honoring the honeybee, a very hard worker in our agricultural system. So I will see you next week. Can't wait to see the work that you submit in the next couple of days. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Be creative. Enjoy the great weather. See you soon.